Om Agyanatimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Nilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaurate Se Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Taruvesha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnamebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram. Hare Krishna. So, today we will discuss a very important topic called whether God is person or imperson. Yes. So Bhagavan, भगवान साकार हैं या निराकार हैं? आप सबको क्या लगता है? What all of you think? Is Krishna person or imperson? No one is telling. You are not able to tell.
I think both in person and.
Okay, both in person and person. Okay, ठीक है. Yes, Ritika.
The same only, sir. This person and energy both, I believe.
Okay, so his person and energy both. Anyone else who has any other point? No? Okay, so
Hare Krishna Prabhu, he is both. As per Bhagavad Gita, he has said during his Vishwarup that कुछ लोग मुझे impersonal रूप में पूजा करते हैं, तो मैं उनको भी प्राप्त होता हूँ, और कुछ लोग मुझे इस रूप में मेरी पूजा करते हैं, मतलब पर्सनल रूप में पूजा करते हैं, उनको भी प्राप्त होता है.
Okay, both. I think whenever any question is there, if you say both, then it becomes very easy. We are not taking any side, and we are inclusive. We are sarva dharma samattah. सबको हम शांत कर रहे हैं. Okay, good. So we'll just review last class what we saw. We saw who are the demigods, how they are in charge of universe. If you want different material things, they are the in charge. By worshipping them, we get those things. And then who worship the demigods? Demigod worships are in 3 modes, and we also discussed about difference between demigod worship and Krishna worship. Why Krishna makes arrangement for demigod worship? Anyone? Why Krishna makes arrangement for demigod worship? We discussed elaborately in last class. Anyone remembers?
Prabhu, it is like a king who has got different ministers for different departments.
Okay.
So like हमारे constitution, मतलब India politics में देखें तो there's a prime minister, then under him there are different sectors.
Okay, so that is the identity of demigods. But why Krishna makes arrangement? Krishna actually says in Bhagavad Gita, we saw last class, that those who worship the demigods, they are alpa medhasa. They are less intelligent. But if they are less intelligent, why then Krishna makes arrangement?
Because Prabhuji, some people might not have the direct belief or faith for the God. And if they worship the demigods, they get some material benefits. So from that point of view, so they then can connect to the God.
Okay, so they can connect to the God. Yes, gradually they can connect to the God. Very nice point. Anyone else? why
एंड जो डेमीगॉड को वर्शिप करते हैं उन्हें बिहाइंड द सीन डेमीगॉड नहीं पूछते हैं कि इसके पीछे का कारण क्या है, तुम क्यों ये प्राप्त करना चाहते हो, बट व्हेन anyone we worship to Krishna, then he knows everything, what is the purpose behind it and all these things, so people worship demigods.
Yeah, so कोई देवताओं को पूजा करता है, if they worship demigods, then demigods don't ask why you want, what you want, what you will do, just like asking father 1,000 rupees. What the father will reply? Why you want money? But if you ask, if you go and do a job and you ask your boss, I have done my job, you give me 1,000 rupees. Will the boss ask why you need 1,000 rupees, what you will do with it? No. So, but why Krishna makes an arrangement of the demigod worship? Yes, Dandavat.
So, Bhagwan wants to make the initial transaction to happen so that at least he comes into, or at least some transaction. He wants something.
So this is a very nice point which we discussed, that at least he comes in the purview of the Shastras and Vedas. Demigod worship करने के लिए उसको क्या करना पड़ेगा? शास्त्र तो पढ़ना ही पड़ेगा ना, वेद तो पढ़ना ही पड़ेगा ना. He has to read Vedas, he has to read scriptures. Otherwise, how will you do demigod worship? So this is a very nice way to bring people to read scriptures, to follow some authority. By telling, oh, if you read the Vedas, if you follow the Vedas, you will get your desires fulfilled. And then they start following the Vedas and slowly they get transformed. Yes. Anything else we discussed? Krishna making arrangement for demigod worship. We discussed a very nice example related to kids. Oh, no one remembers? We made a very...
The example of poet Shantidas.
Okay, we discussed the example of poet Chandidas in relation to how demigod, if we worship demigods, it should not, if we worship Krishna, if demigods should become angry or not. So, is basis. But what we are telling is why Krishna makes arrangement for demigod worship. Why? क्यों? एक children के related एक example हमने दिया था, child, mother.
Like kitchen toys, about kitchen toys.
हाँ.
If any girl want to make any food item, then her parents provide her kitchen toys to.
No, not exactly like that. Father and mother and child. Yeah. Yes, Seema. Dandavat.
Actually, Lord Krishna has made his arrangements because he wants at least they worshipping of demigods, people came to an habit to worshipping, and though it is something for benefit, but they will gradually habituated in this, and they will
habituated in what? Habituated. You are telling the right thing. Habituated in three things. Three things.
And
what three things?
One is to follow the rules and regulations.
Okay.
And to worship demigods, and through that they will came slowly or gradually the worship of Lord of Krishna. Okay, that's but three things they will get habituated. Three things.
Please protect.
No. Three things. Yajna, Dana, Tapaha.
Dana, Tapa.
Yajna, Dana, Tapa. So yajna matlab sacrifice. They will at least do some sacrifice. Otherwise, they're always thinking, me, mera. At least by doing demigod worship, oh Indra ka, na mama, swa Indraya swaha, idam na mama. At least वो सोचेगा अरे इंद्रा का है मेरा नहीं है, so यज्ञ करेगा. यज्ञ मतलब sacrifice. Sacrificing what? Sacrificing our अहंकार. और अहम भाव, ये मेरा है, सब मेरा है. तो यज्ञ. दान मतलब किसी के लिए कुछ करना, दान करना. So जैसे ही any demigod worship, they have to give some dan to the pujaris, the purohit, correct? Right? So they will get habituated to dan, yagya, dana and tapa. You have to come, get up early in the morning and take bath. Generally, you will not get up early in the morning. You will get up at 10 o'clock in the morning. And generally, he will not take bath. And generally, he will never dream of fasting. No, you have to get up early in the morning, then take bath, and then do fasting till the time you come for yajna. So he is getting accustomed to yajna, dana and tapa. Now it's clear to everyone? And third thing, we discussed another thing. Why Krishna? How Krishna makes arrangement for the demigod worship related to mother and son. Oh, all of you are mother and son, but not able.
So the medicine example.
Medicine. Yes. Please tell. What is medicine example like?
Demigod is the jaggery outer coating in which we hide the medicine and feed it to our child or an animal when they don't agree to take it.
Yes. So
the main medicine is the worshipping of Krishna.
Perfect. One loud Hari Bol for Ansulika. Yes. Tell Hari Bol, everyone. Yeah, very good. So this was what exactly I was looking for. So Krishna knows, even the demigods, forget about Krishna, even Indra knows, Chandra knows, everyone knows that the goal of life is to worship Vishnu. They are already worshipping Vishnu. All Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Ganesh, सबका अपना अपना इष्ट देव है. जैसे we discussed, Ganesh has Narsingh Dev, Indra has Bamana Dev, Agni has Viswakshena. Agni has a Narayan form, Vishnu form, जिनका नाम है विश्वक्षेण. अग्नि विश्वक्षेण जी का उपासना करते हैं. इंद्र बामन देव का उपासना करते हैं. गणेश worships Narsingh Dev. So all these Sunny worships Narsingh Dev. So there is a beautiful verse written by Sunny Dev on Narsingh Dev. So these all demigods, all the Navagrahas, everyone has Vishnu form. They are already worshipping Vishnu form. They also know that the goal of life is to worship Krishna only. But just like a mother, the child doesn't want the medicine of Krishna worship, the mother puts the demigod worship, the jaggery, and then feeds. So exactly in the same way, this arrangement is made of the demigod worship so that ultimately people take to the medicine of Krishna worship nicely, seriously. Okay? People don't want to do yajna, people don't want to do tapa, people don't want to get purified, people don't want to live a pure life, but then they are cheated, transcendentally, divinely cheated. What? यज्ञ करेगा, साफ होगा, साफ सुथरा होके आएगा, सुबह सुबह बैठेगा तो सब तुम्हारा रिष्ट खंडन हो जाएगा. ऐसे बोलते हैं ना, रिष्ट खंडन हो जाएगा. All your obstacles will go away. सब रिष्ट खंडन हो जाएगा, शांति आएगा, सब कुछ आएगा. So he gets habituated to yajna, dana, tapa. So that was one thing. And it also includes different names of chanting the names of the Vishnu in beginning and end. That also purifies, right? So then this is a very important question which we discussed in the end. Will demigods become angry if we leave their worship? So then we were discussing about Chandidas, we were discussing about Jada Bharat. So we are discussing a lot of stories, how the demigods are very, very happy when they see us becoming devotees of Krishna. Rather, if we worship the demigods without any material benefit, if we worship Ganesh, if we worship Indra, without any benefit, material benefit, then they will direct us to Krishna. They will direct us. But if we worship with material benefit, then they will give us the material benefit. But if we worship Ganesh, and Ganesh, what will worship Ganesh? Oh Ganesh, please give me what is best for me. Then Ganesh will send in our life devotees of Krishna. So all of you, if you would have the habit of worshipping any demigod, and if at all at any point of time you would have spoken any prayer to the demigod that मेरे लिए जो अच्छा आप कीजिए, so that's how now currently you are hearing Bhagavad Gita. So they have only arranged. So how you have come is they have only arranged it. So this is what we need to understand. And what is, this is demigod attitude to devotees of Krishna. मतलब देवता लोग भगवान कृष्ण को भक्तों को कैसे देखते हैं, भगवान कृष्ण के भक्तों को देवताओं को कैसे देखना चाहिए. So they should offer respects. How we should see when some Durga Puja is happening or Ganesh Puja is happening, Vishwakarma Puja is happening. It's not that अरे मैं तो भगवान कृष्ण को पूजा करता हूँ, ये सब बकवास है. Not like that. We should also respect them, understanding that they are great devotees of Krishna. Right? So we should worship Krishna, but also respect the demigods. Right? Is this clear? So these are the two things that we these are the two things that we discussed. If demigods don't become angry, rather they are very happy if we become Krishna's devotees. And our attitude to the demigods should be, we should offer respects to the demigods and pray to them for Krishna Bhakti. If a devotee who is reading Bhagavad Gita and trying to worship Krishna, becoming a devotee of Krishna, he goes to Ganesh temple. What he should do? He should pay Dandavat to Ganesh and pray to Ganesh that, oh Ganesh, you are such a great devotee of Narsingadev, such a great devotee of Vishnu. Give me some drop of your devotion that I can have. So like this we should pray to the demigods for Krishna Bhakti. Okay? Okay. So now we'll go ahead. So today, first we will see how there are different types of worshippers. So if some people surrender to Krishna out of pure love, they just want to love Krishna, they are called devotees. So they want to love Krishna, just love Krishna, they are called devotees. The second category of people, they also come to Krishna, but they come for material benefits. They are called pious people. Sukritino, ये है भक्ता. ये है सुकृतिनो, Sukrita. Okay. Then there is third category of people. They will not go to Krishna. They will surrender to a representative of Krishna. So they are called Deva Bhakta. Devataon ka bhakta. And the last category of people, they will surrender to the energy of Krishna. They are called Brahmavadi or impersonalist. Or Advaitavadi or Brahmavadi. Right? So these are the four categories of spiritualist. One, devotees, Vaishnavas, pious people, Deva Bhaktas, Brahmavadis. These are the four categories of spiritualist. Either of all over India, whatever spiritualist you are seeing, or all over the world, whatever spiritualist you are seeing, mostly they will fall in these four categories. Even in other religions like Christianity, Islamic, so there are some bhaktas, there are some Sukritya, there are some Deva Bhaktas, there are some Brahmavadis. In every religion, in every part of the creation, these are the four categories. No matter whatever religions, whatever rituals they follow, whatever form of the God they worship, these are the four broad categories of spiritualist. One is a bhakta who is trying to worship God out of pure love. He doesn't want anything. Another is Sukritinaha, who worships God for some material benefit. The third is Deva Bhakta, who worships the representatives of God. And the fourth one is who considers God as some light or energy and worships the energy of the Lord. Now, so we will discuss more elaborately today on the impersonalist or the fourth kind of worshipper. So we discussed about Bhakta, We have discussed about Sukriti. We have discussed about Deva Bhakta. So the last category of spiritualists that they remain is the Brahmavadis. So today we are going to discuss about them. So what these Brahmavadis they say? They say they worship the energy of the Lord, and they say, what they claim, that God is some energy and light. भगवान कुछ आलोक है, एक एनर्जी है, some light. They will meditate on the light. You will see there are some organization, they will put a candle and then they will tell meditate on the candle, correct? They will put the candle and then they will say meditate on the light, and actually try to see God in the form of energy or light. And the second thing that they will say, that first of all they will say that they are God is light. The second thing they will say that He doesn't have a form. He is a light or energy, but He doesn't have a form. They will not say both, like all of you are saying, na? Because all of you are devotees. I've started attending classes, that's why you are telling both. Or maybe you don't want to dissatisfy Sri Nitai, that's why you are telling both. Or whatever reason it may be, you are telling both, but they will not tell both. They will say Bhagwan केवल आलोक है, ये मूर्ति वूर्ति बकवास है. These are all useless. आप बकवास कार्य कर रहे हैं, मूर्ति पूजा कर रहे हैं. मूर्ति में कैसे भगवान हो सकता है, पत्थर में कैसे भगवान हो सकते हैं, भगवान के कैसे स्वरूप हो सकता है, भगवान को स्वरूप से क्यों बांध रहे हैं आप? They will say like this. You have seen people, how many of you have heard people speaking like this? भगवान को क्यों स्वरूप से बांध रहे हो? कि राहुल has heard, no one else, Ansulika has heard.
Yes, Prabhu, there are many people जो ब्रह्मवादी हैं, but they also have a very valid logic, no? Because basis यजुर्वेद, it's written, जो बड़ा famous श्लोक है, नाभ्यस्य प्रतिमा अस्ति, उनकी कोई प्रतिमा नहीं है, वो सर्वव्याप्त है. यजुर्वेद में ये है, श्लोक है. तो उसके हिसाब से ही वो उसी को बार-बार रेफर करते हैं कि ये तो वेद के हिसाब से ही हम मानते हैं.
Yeah. So that's what today's session is important. So that we'll know that कि क्या है, भगवान का फॉर्म है कि नहीं. So and then the third thing they tell is more horrible. ठीक है, एक तो बोल दिया भगवान का फॉर्म जो नहीं है, भगवान आलोक है, भगवान. थर्ड थिंग दे से that जो भी फॉर्म भगवान का पूजा हो रहा है in this world, they are all imagination and hallucination of some devotee. This is third thing. First thing they say that भगवान का कोई फॉर्म नहीं. Second thing they say, first thing they say भगवान आलोक है. Second thing they say भगवान का कोई फॉर्म नहीं. Third thing, then you will ask, अरे I am seeing शंख चक्र गदा पद्म विष्णु, शांताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभांगं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगी विद्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णु भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथं. So the same Yajurved this speaks this, and another scripture speaks about Vishnu having a form like this. Then what is that? No, that is just imagination. That's just imagination. Then they will say that is just imagination. That's the fourth thing, very dangerous. So, and then the last thing they will say, which is the most dangerous, is that goal of life is that when the soul will merge in the super soul or the Brahman and become one with God, and finally this is the goal of life. This is mukti. We will merge with the Supreme, and by merging with the Supreme, by becoming one with the Supreme, by becoming one with God, we will the Atma Paramatma से लीन हो जाएगा, सब शांत हो जाएंगे. How many of you have heard this? आत्मा परमात्मा से लीन हो जाएगा. Yes, okay, good. So then the fifth thing they will say that आत्मा परमात्मा से लीन हो जाएगा, तब जाके आपको क्या उसको बोलते हैं, मुक्ति मिल जाएगा. मुक्ति का मतलब क्या है कि the soul merges and then the soul becomes one with God. And finally, everything is God, they will say. Just you have to realize. In IIT, when I used to live in IIT, there was a famous T-shirt that used to get sold in IIT, and it was written on the T-shirt. What is written? It was written like this: I was an atheist till I realized that I am God. So I was an atheist, and so long, how long I was an atheist? Till the time I realized that I am God. And now, since I have realized that I am God, then there is no question of atheism. Actually, everyone is God. 27 gods are sitting now, because 27 participants are there. You are all God. Just you have to realize. And that's how you are reading Bhagavad Gita. That's how you are reading, understanding spirituality. You are all God. So, then the most important question is, if I am God, or if you are God, then why you are suffering? Huh? If you are God, then why toothache? Why COVID? Huh? Why so much of problems? If you are God, then what is the point of suffering? So, all these claims, whatever the impersonalists they do, that we are going to see today. First, second, third, fourth. Our entire class will be on these 4 things. Whether these 4 things are proper or not proper. Okay? So, we will see what Krishna says about the impersonalist. Abhyaktam vyaktimapannam
Avyaktam vyaktimapannam
manyante mama buddhaya
manyante mama abhuddhya
param bhavam ajananto
param bhavam ajananto
mama avyayam anuttamam.
mama avyayam anuttamam.
You see what the Krishna is telling about the impersonalist. Impersonalists, they are called abhyaktavadis. Abhyakta matlab unmanifested. Unmanifested matlab Krishna doesn't have a manifested form. Manifested matlab samajhte? It doesn't have a manifested form. Unmanifested. Abhyaktam. Vyaktim mapannam. So, the Krishna says that same abhyakta, that which was unmanifested, now has become manifested as God. Right? Vyakti. वो अव्यक्त अभी व्यक्ति बन गया. मन्यन्ते, जो ऐसे, माम, जो मेरे को ऐसे मानता है कि मैं पहले ब्रह्म था और फिर एक स्वरूप ले लिया हूं, इमेजिनरी स्वरूप ले लिया हूं. भगवान बोल रहे हैं अबुद्धया, वो मूर्ख हैं. Right? So this is, I am not telling that those who are impersonalists, they are foolish. Krishna is telling. So, अव्यक्तम व्यक्तिमापन्नम मन्यन्ते माम. मन्यन्ते मतलब जो मानता है. माम मतलब मेरे को. जो मेरे को अव्यक्त मानता है वो अबुद्धया है, वो मूर्ख है. परम भावम, मेरा भाव पर है. अजानंतो, उनको जानते नहीं है. मम अव्ययम, मेरा शरीर अव्यय है, भौतिक नहीं है. अनुत्तमम, मेरा शरीर उत्तम से भी ऊपर है. So unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of God Krishna, was impersonal before and I have assumed this personality. मैं पहले निराकार था अभी मैं एक साकार स्वरूप ले लिया हूं. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. So Krishna is very, who is more greater authority than Krishna to tell about Krishna? Who is more greater authority than God himself to tell about who is God? Whether he is having sakar or...
लेकिन डायरेक्टली कहाँ लिखा हुआ है इसमें? वो तो उन्होंने कहा imperishable. उन्होंने ये मतलब मान लीजिए इसको मैं अगर शब्द बाई शब्द जो आपने
yes
जा रहा हूँ, where is it clearly written that I have a form?
Yeah, so that's what I am telling, na. So this is written is अव्यक्त becoming व्यक्ति. आपन्नम मतलब अव्यक्त अभिव्यक्ति बन गया है. So here, if you when a Sanskrit is there, these are the two subjects of the verse. The first subject is अव्यक्त.
जैसे व्यक्त अव्यक्त उल्टा हो गया.
So listen first. So these are the two subjects. So Krishna is telling that they tell that Abhyakta has now become Vyakta. Correct? This is very clear from the words. मन्यन्ते माम अबुद्धया, मतलब जो ऐसे बोलता है कि अव्यक्त व्यक्ति हो गया है तो वो अबुद्धया है. परम भावम अजानन्तो, वो नहीं जानते हैं जो व्यक्ति है, जो व्यक्त है वो परम है, अव्यय है and anuttam. These are the three qualifications that Krishna uses for the Vyakta. Okay. Now how this, because this is just the first sloka, there are other slokas also Krishna will tell in Bhagavad Gita आगे जाके. So there's the Avyakta is becoming Vyakta, but they don't know that the Vyakta, what body I have, is Param Bhava. It is superior to material nature. अरे क्या हो गया? Where is that verse went? Just 1 minute. अब अव्यक्त हो गया वर्स. ना अव्यक्त व्यक्त हो गया है. So but they don't know that the Vyakta, that my form is Param, Avyaya and Anuttama. Now why Krishna is using these three things? Because the impersonalist, they use these three things to disqualify Vyakta. जो हम next slide में पढ़ेंगे. Okay, so you have to just wait little bit, Subham. So why Krishna is using these three things, Param, Avyaya, Anuttama? So we'll see. So impersonalists, they say that God is impersonal, but we see that every emanation from God is personal. We see that everything has a form. So if something is coming out, if the this is the source, this is the product, right? So we see that in nature there is so much of personalism, there is so much of forms. So then that means the source also should have form. The second thing is that God is complete and supreme. अगर भगवान संपूर्ण है, जैसे ईशोपनिषद में भगवान के बारे में बताते हैं, ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, भगवान पूर्ण है. अगर भगवान पूर्ण है तो if Krishna doesn't have a form, then he is apurna. You are able to understand? That means Subham, or not Subham, but Miss Universe has a beautiful form. इतने सारे लोग फोटो खींच रहे, and Krishna or God doesn't have a form, that means Miss Universe has something which God doesn't have. That means actually the definition of God is kartum, akartum, anyatha kartum, sarvatha kartum. The definition of God is kartum, God can do what we all can do. Akartum, God can do what we all cannot do. Anyatha kartum, God can do what we all cannot do and also cannot do also. Sometimes he can do, sometimes cannot do. Sarvatha kartum, God can do everything. That means if the impersonalists are telling God doesn't have a form and they are also telling God is supreme, supremely purna or complete, then how can God be complete? For a complete God, he has to be personal also and he has to be impersonal also, both. He has to have a form also and he has to have an energy aspect also by which he controls. You're able to understand? So that means if we have something which God doesn't have, that means that God is having something which, not having something which we have. So that this is not logically possible. This doesn't define logically. भगवान मतलब हमारे पास जो है उनके पास रहेगा, हमारे पास जो नहीं है उनके पास भी रहेगा, तब जा भगवान होंगे. हमारे पास अगर स्वरूप है तो भगवान के पास रहेगा, और हमारे पास जो स्वरूप है, हमारे पास जो स्वरूप है वो परम नहीं है, वो बदबू मारता है. पर भगवान के पास जो स्वरूप है वो परम है. हमारे पास जो स्वरूप है अव्यय नहीं है, वो व्यय होता है, पर भगवान के पास जो स्वरूप है वो अव्यय है. हमारे पास जो स्वरूप है वो उत्तम नहीं है, पर भगवान के साथ जो स्वरूप है उत्तम है. सो टू से दैट गॉड डजंट हैव ए फॉर्म disproves that he is God. If he is God, he has to have a form. And the third one is God's personal form is divine. As it is explained in this, Krishna is telling that my personal form is divine. Why the impersonalist, they tell that God is not having a personal form? They see that whoever is having form is going through misery. Whoever is having a body is going through misery. सुसु करना पड़ता है, टॉयलेट जाना पड़ता है, साफ करना पड़ता है, बीमारी लग जाता है. Correct? So they try to project that if God also has a form, then God को सुसु करना पड़ेगा, टॉयलेट जाना पड़ेगा, और उनका बदबू मारेगा, बॉडी ऑर्डर आएगा, डिओड्रेंट लगाना पड़ेगा, टॉयलेट करना पड़ेगा, खाना खाना पड़ेगा. So that means they are materially projecting God. So they are projecting God on a very material platform. They see the material forms and they consider that the spiritual form will also have the material form's defects like the material form. So, but we have to understand that the Lord's body is not like our body. It is free of veins, and this comes in a verse, apapa viddham ashna viram. This comes in Upanishads, that God has a form which is free of veins, free of all foul smelling substances. This comes. So spiritual form is divya, it is beyond material realm, and spiritual form is free from birth, old age, disease and death. So वही चीज भगवान इधर बोलने का कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि the impersonalists, they say that my vyakta, my form is no form. I do not have a form, because whatever forms they see in this world is misery producing, is perishable, and that's why they say God should not have a form. But they forget that I have a form which is having all these qualities. Is this clear now? Okay, so we'll go ahead. It will become more clear as we go ahead. Okay. Now, all the Shastras, they speak about form of the God. In Bible, it is described God having the semblance of human form. In Genesis, in chapter 18 and 19, it is said that God appeared before Abraham in a human-like form, although the form is not elaborately described. So in many places in Bible, it is described that God is having a form, but how that form looks, it is not elaborately described. Right? In Quran also, there is said about Allah's face, Wajah, and Allah's eyes are clearly mentioned. Right? So in Quran also it's mentioned about Allah's face, but not much elaborately. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says in 13th chapter, 14th verse, everywhere are his hands and legs. Sarvato pani padatvam, sarvato shutiman loke. Sab jagah mere haath hai, sab jagah mere aankh hai. In this way, how the super soul exists. That everywhere there are, God has eyes, legs, heads. The Rig Veda states that Vishnu is supreme and that saintly persons are always anxious to see his lotus feet. Om, this is the very famous verse which is always quoted from Rig Veda. Om tad Vishnu parampada sada pashyanti suryaha diviva chakshusha ratatam. So, Om tad Vishnu parampada, matlab pada matlab feet. Sada pasyanti suryaha, the demigods are always anxious to seeking the shelter of God's feet. और भगवान का पैर नहीं होगा तो देवता लोग क्यों पूजा करेंगे? मैं भगवान का पैर का स्मरण कर रहा हूँ, चिंता कर रहा हूँ, पैर है ही नहीं. तो here it is not written Om Tad Vishnu light padam. It's not written oh देवता लोग वो light का उपासना कर रहे हैं. So it is clearly mentioned in Rig Veda in the first canto, 22nd chapter, 20th verse, that Om Tad Vishnu Param Padam Sada Pasyanti Suryaha. And in Gopal Tapani Upanishad, it is also mentioned. In Gopal Tapani Upanishad, it is mentioned Satchidananda Rupaya. Bhagwan का जो स्वरूप है सत चित्त आनंद रूपाय, मतलब दैट इज ए फॉर्म विच इज सत चित्त आनंद. जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना सच्चिदानंद रूपम, सच्चिदानंद रूप है. हमारा रूप क्या है? बोन्स मांस भेन्स रूपम, ब्लड रूपम, बोन रूपम, स्केलेटन रूपम, रिब्स रूपम, मांस रूपम. बट भगवान का ऐसा नहीं है स्केलेटन रूपम, रिब्स रूपम, मांस रूपम. भगवान क्या है? सच्चिदानंद रूपम. ब्रह्म संहिता also says ईश्वर परम कृष्णा सच्चिदानंद विग्रह. भगवान की एक विग्रह है सच्चिदानंद का. Right? So many of the scriptures clearly speak about Krishna having a form. Then what is the energy? अगर भगवान का फॉर्म है तो ये ब्रह्म क्या झूठ है? ये ब्रह्मवादी लोग क्या मूर्ख हैं? ब्रह्मवादी लोग क्या झूठ झाट बोल रहे हैं? What they are telling. So what is impersonal Brahma Jyoti? Okay, so we will see now. So now we will discuss a verse which says about what is impersonal Brahma Jyoti. Brahma is speaking. This is Brahma Samhita, 5th canto, 5th chapter, 40th verse. Yes, someone can recite. Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti Koti Swasesa वसुधाति
वसुधाति
विभूति भिन्नम
विभूति भिन्नम
तद ब्रह्म निष्कलम
तद ब्रह्म निष्कलम
अनंतम अशेष भूता
अनंतमते भूता
गोविंदमादि पुरुषम
गोविंदम आदि पुरुषम
तदहं भजामि
तदमम अहम भजामि
यस्य यस्य मतलब जिसका, यस्य का मतलब होता है जिसका, प्रभा। कैन एनीवन से व्हाट इज प्रभा?
effulgence
एफल्जेंस, वेरी गुड, एफल्जेंस, ज्योति, ज्योति। यस्या प्रभा प्रभवतो, प्रभवतो मतलब उनकी प्रभा इतना शक्तिशाली है, पावरफुल। हिज प्रभा, जिसकी प्रभा इतनी पावरफुल है, जिसकी एफल्जेंस इतनी पावरफुल है, जगद अंड कोटि, अंड मतलब यूनिवर्स, जगद अंड कोटि, जगद अंड मतलब यूनिवर्स, कोटि मतलब क्रोर्स ऑफ यूनिवर्स, crores of universe, koti swasesa vasudhadi vibhuti vinnam, and not just crores of universe, it is completely filled with all varieties. These universes that are completely filled with all varieties, tad, that is Brahma, Niskalam. So, that effulgence is called Brahma और ब्रह्म ज्योति। तो भगवान की प्रभा जो है, भगवान की शरीर से जो आलोक निकल रहा है, उसको ब्रह्म बोलते हैं और ब्रह्म ज्योति बोल रहे हैं, राइट? अनंत अशेष भूतम, एंड दैट लाइट इज अनंत एंड अशेष भूतम। So Krishna's light is so powerful. Krishna's body से जो light निकल रहा है, that itself is so powerful that from that light several universes are floating by the power of that light. So what is Brahma? So this is the construction of creation. We will discuss more elaborately in next classes. These are all spiritual world. These are all Vaikuntha planets, and all the Vaikuntha planets, wherever Krishna is there, from his body, the effulgence that is coming is what fills the entire sky, which is called the Brahma Jyoti. So Brahma Jyoti is actually the effulgence of the Lord. So Krishna's effulgence or God's effulgence, Vishnu's effulgence, the effulgence of the spiritual realm is called the Brahma Jyoti. So this is the Brahma Jyoti, and in this Brahma Jyoti, actually millions of universes are floating like this. And in each universe, there is one earth, there is one moon, and all those things that is there. So we'll discuss more about universal structure and how the universe is in further classes. But what is the Brahman that the Brahmavadis they speak is actually Yasya Prabha. The Brahma Jyoti वाले जो ब्रह्म के बारे में बोलते हैं, वो एक्चुअली भगवान की प्रभा है। प्रभा समझते हैं? प्रभा मतलब the light, the effulgence that is coming out from Krishna's body, that is actually the Brahma, right? So क्या भगवान ज्योति है? हाँ, भगवान ज्योति है। और वो क्या ज्योति है? भगवान की शरीर से जो ज्योति निकल रहा है। क्या वो ज्योति भगवान है? नहीं है। क्या वो ज्योति भगवान है? है। So both is correct. क्योंकि वो भगवान से निकल रहा है तो वो भगवान है। क्या सनलाइट सन है? है। क्या सनलाइट सन है? नहीं है। So the question is, why it is not going? Okay. Is sunlight sun? How many of you tell is sunlight sun? सब मुंह हिला रहे हैं, कोई मुंह हिला रहा है. Is sunlight sun?
I would say that sunlight is a part of sun.
Okay, sunlight is a part of the sun. Very good answer. Okay, okay, someone is telling yes, sunlight is sun. How many of you say sunlight not sun? Okay, sunlight not sun. How many of you say sunlight is sun? No. अरे जब ट्वाइलाइट होता है इन द मॉर्निंग टाइम, ये सूर्य निकला है, सूर्य निकला है, कोई सूर्य को देखा नहीं पर आलोक देख के क्या बोल रहा है? सूर्य निकल गया, सूर्य निकल गया, सूर्य निकल गया. करेक्ट? ये सूर्य के अंडर में मत बैठो. हैं? कोई नहीं बोलता सूर्य रश्मि के अंडर में मत बैठो. सम पीपल से व्हाट? सूरज से थोड़ा दूर रहो. करेक्ट? सो इज सनलाइट सन? यस, sunlight is sun because it is coming out of sun. Is sunlight sun? No, because sun has its own existence. So that's how Brahma is the sunlight and sun is God. So now we can go on debating on this question, is sunlight sun? There will be some party who will say yes, sunlight is sun, and some party will say no, sunlight is not sun. And whole life we can go on debating, and that's how people debate whether God is Brahma or Brahma is God. But actually both, because God's energy is coming out, effulgence is coming out, that is Brahma. And if something is coming out of God, it has also a lot of power, and that's what Brahmaji is mentioning. What is mentioning? Yasya prabha prabhavato. उनकी प्रभा केवल इतनी शक्तिशाली है कि उनकी प्रभा की शक्ति से इतने सारे कोटि कोटि ब्रह्मांड दे आर फ्लोटिंग. Krishna's prabha is so powerful that crores of universes are floating. So just like sunlight, sun is very powerful. Is sunlight not powerful? 50 डिग्री सेल्सियस कर दिया. सन के आके बैठे हुए हैं दिल्ली में. हैं? Tell me, has sun come and sat in the Delhi? All are telling global warming हो रहा है, ये हो रहा है, वो हो रहा है, ऐसे हो रहा है, ओजोन लेयर घट गया, ऐसे हो रहा है, इसीलिए तापमान बढ़ रहा है. कि सूर्य देव आके क्या दिल्ली में घर बना दिया अपना रेसिडेंस? राजभवन में सूर्य देव रहने लग गए क्या? या राष्ट्रपति भवन में? सूर्य हैज नॉट कम, बट वी से सूर्य का ताप बढ़ रहा है. करेक्ट? अरे सूर्य का ताप नहीं बढ़ रहा है, सूर्य रश्मि तुम ज्यादा ले रहा है. सो वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड सनलाइट एंड सन, दे आर indispensable. They are fully connected. So exactly in the same way, Brahma and God, they are fully connected. But अगर sunlight को देख के कोई बोलता है sun नहीं है, this is too much. And if someone says कि sunlight है इसलिए sun नहीं है, why sun नहीं है? Because then you will restrict the light. Arey, you will not restrict the light. It is the source of the light. What is the meaning of restricting the light? If someone sees sunlight and says sunlight is there, sun is not there, this is a foolishness. Arey, sunlight is there, that means sun has to be there. So similarly, the Brahmavadis, they just believe in the sunlight, but they don't believe in who is the source of the light. Who is the source of that sunlight or sun, right? And that's how in Isopanishad, this very beautiful verse is spoken, which is like a completely mouth shut answer to all the Brahmavadis who say that God doesn't have a form. You see what this verse is telling. Hiranmayena patrena Satyasa pihitang mukham Tattvam pusan apabruno Satya dharmaya drishtaye. So, is telling what? Hiran mayena patrena satyasa apihitam mukham. कि हे भगवान आपकी जो मुख है, फेस है, हिरणमया. हिरणमया मतलब गोल्ड जैसा, तपता हुआ गोल्ड जो होता है ना, वो कैसे लाइट करता है. तपता हुआ गोल्ड को आप देख पाएंगे क्या? क्योंकि वो इतना लाइट छोड़ता है, उसको देखने में दिक्कत होता है. इसलिए यू विल सी व्हेन दे आर डूइंग, द ज्वेलर पुट समथिंग ऑन इन फ्रंट ऑफ द आईज एंड देन डू डस, राइट? They put something on black cover and then they do. So Hiranmayena, just like there is the gold, when it is burning, it gives a dazzling effulgence. Exactly in the same way, your mukham is covered, apihitam. It is covered with this dazzling effulgence. Your mukham, your word, face. Tattvam pusam apabruno. हे भगवान, आप इस जो डैजलिंग एफल्जेंस को हटाइए ताकि मैं आपकी फॉर्म को देख पाऊं. दृष्टये. So this is so clear that Krishna has a form and Krishna has an effulgence which is actually Brahma. What the Brahmavadis say? Just because there is Brahma, that doesn't prove that God doesn't have a form. Rather, Brahma is the effulgence of God's divine form. Is this clear? So that is very clearly mentioned. It is face. So the Brahma Jyoti is actually coming from God's beautiful form. Okay. Rather, there are three aspects of the absolute truth. सत्य को या फिर परम सत्य को, भगवान को तीन स्तर में जाना जा सकता है. वदन्ति तत्तत्त्वविदाः तत्त्वं यज्ञानम् अद्वयम् ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति भगवानिति शब्दते. सो भगवान को तीन प्रकार से जाना जा सकता है. एक है ब्रह्मेति, भगवान ब्रह्मा, परमात्मेति, परमात्मा है, और तीन भगवान है. दीज आर द थ्री प्रोग्रेसिव अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ गॉड. तो इसके ऊपर हम नेक्स्ट क्लास चर्चा करेंगे, बिकॉज ऑलरेडी 12 बज गया है and I don't want to, because little critical and philosophical, I want to give little one more class. Okay, anyone has any question? So we'll start from here.
Prabhu, yes, I have a couple of questions. One is, so should we, since Krishna is the Supreme Lord, so we should consider, it should not be wrong to consider that he was not born, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So now if something is not born, something is not created by somebody, then how that person can have a form? But now the answer can be philosophical, it can be quoted from scriptures also. But the same scripture also at times says that it has got no form.
Yes.
No form means murti puja galat hai. So murti is the form of the God.
Yes.
So can we have this answer without philosophy, that there's no diplomatic stance in our Vedas or scriptures, which are people from other religion often quote that our Vedas are based on Smriti, and they have got this diplomatic stance.
No, it's not diplomatic stand, I would say. So just like Murti and Vigraha. So Murti is called idol, Vigraha is archa or dt. Sorry, how did I write? So there is one thing called murti, which is called idol, and then the another called is dt or vigraha. So मूर्ति, हम भी मूर्ति पूजा नहीं करते हैं, शास्त्र मूर्ति पूजा मना करता है. ऐसे नहीं कि मूर्ति पूजा अगर करते कोई भी पत्थर को हम पूजा कर लेते, राइट. फॉरगेट अबाउट दैट. जब पत्थर कार जो पत्थर बनाता है, कृष्ण की पत्थर बनाता है, तो उसको भी हम पूजा नहीं करते हैं. सो मूर्ति और विग्रह में बहुत अंतर है. सो हम कोई भी पत्थर को पूजा नहीं करते हैं. ऐसे नहीं कि कोई भी पत्थर में कृष्ण की आंकना कर लीजिए तो उसको पूजा करने लग जाते हैं. सो मूर्ति को विग्रह बनाता है थ्रू मंत्र उच्चारण, जहां पे भगवान को आवाहन किया जाता है. एंड दैट एंटायर सेरेमनी इज कॉल्ड प्राण प्रतिष्ठा. वेयर गॉड एग्रीज to enter the murti or a form and make it not murti, make it vigraha. Why God agrees to do that? Why भगवान एक विग्रह के अंदर प्रवेश करते हैं? So that he can accept service from us, because we are requesting, because his devotees are requesting, right? So when scriptures at some places they are telling that भगवान प्रतिमा नहीं है. यस, भगवान प्रतिमा नहीं है, भगवान पत्थर नहीं है, केवल पत्थर को हम पूजा नहीं कर सकते हैं. देयर आर मेनी रिलीजन्स वेयर दे वर्शिप एवरीथिंग. दे वर्शिप पत्थर, दे वर्शिप ट्रीज, दे वर्शिप माउंटेन, दे वर्शिप एवरीथिंग. वी डोंट वर्शिप द माउंटेन्स, वी डोंट वर्शिप द स्टोन्स. वी वर्शिप दैट स्टोन इन विच गॉड इज इनवाइटेड. भगवान आते हैं. एंड देयर आर सो मेनी इंस्टेंसेस वेयर deities or vigraha have actually reciprocated with the pujaris and the Lord. Like for example, near Calcutta, there is a place in Baleswar called Kheer Chora Gopinath. Now Gopinath is a deity, but he actually stole the kheer. He was called Gopinath before, but then because he stole milk, kheer for his devotee, he came to be known as Kheer Chora. So murti is the structure, but vigraha is when God enters that structure. So can God enter any stone structure? मैं कुछ भी बना दूंगा, ये मेरा जो लाइट स्टैंड है इसके अंदर भगवान आ सकते हैं क्या? इसके अंदर कैमरा स्टैंड में आ सकते हैं क्या? तो इट इज जस्ट लाइक टेलिंग, कैन अंबानी कम टू द स्लम? So if any person in this world who is a big man, if we want to invite him, we have to give a 5-star experience, correct? So exactly in the same way, भगवान को भी मूर्ति में प्रवेश करने के लिए there are certain procedures. Just like प्राइम मिनिस्टर को अगर बुलाना है, देयर आर सम प्रोसीजर्स, प्रोटोकॉल्स, प्राइम मिनिस्टर आ सकते हैं. तो एग्जैक्टली इन द सेम वे भगवान को अगर आवाहन करना है मूर्ति में, तो उनका एक प्रोसीजर है. इसको प्राण प्रतिष्ठा बोला जाता है. एंड भगवान आते हैं, नॉट जस्ट आते हैं, देयर आर इंस्टेंसेस, several instances, documented instances where God has reciprocated. Forget about that. In Jagannath Puri, because I am from Puri, every almost 12, 13, 14, 15 years, every 14, 15 years, Jagannath's form is changed. And when Jagannath's form is changed, the pujaris go for a fasting, and then Durga Devi comes in the mind of one of the pujari and says that you go to this place, you will find a neem tree, and that neem tree will have chandan smell. That's a neem tree, but it will have chandan smell, and then it will have also symbols of Sankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, and then you cut that tree and make the form of Jagannath. And the pujaris, after that dream, what they say, they walk in that direction and they get the tree. Last 300, 400 years, they are getting the tree. And in last 2005 or 15 or 18, whatever it was happened, they got the tree. And then they make the form of the Lord, and then they do the prana pratishtha. So, it's not that God can just enter any wooden form, anything. आप कुछ भी टॉम डिक एंड हैरी आके कुछ भी बना दिया भगवान, उनका भी एक प्रोसीजर है. There are some protocols and there is some mantra ucharan. Then God agrees to come and he gives darshan as Jagannath. And how we know that he is giving darshan as Jagannath? You eat the prasadam. No matter how much ever you try to replicate the food, the cooked in the same way outside, it doesn't give the taste. That means God is there, he is actually eating the prasadam. So in this way, we are not murti pujaris, we are vigraha pujaris. We worship vigraha. And vigraha and murti में अंतर है कि मूर्ति में जब भगवान प्रवेश करते हैं तब वो विग्रह बनता है. मूर्ति भगवान नहीं है, विग्रह भगवान है. Yes?
Prabhuji, just one question. Suppose that Pran Pratishtha Puja was done, I think, in the temples. However, when we bought some murtis from shop and keep in our temple, in a home temple, you can say. So, is it necessary to do the Pran Pratishtha in that particular murtis also?
No.
Because
So,
I never seen that at home. We do generally Pran Pratishtha kind of thing in murtis.
So when we do worship in the our homes, then we do something called the prema pratishtha. So we do prema pratishtha. हम प्रेम से आह्वान करते हैं कि भगवान आप आइए, हमारे घर में रहिए, right? And based on the love, Krishna is actually bound by the love. He comes, right? Just like if I want to invite Narendra Modi, there will be so many protocols, policies, and so many will be given from the PM office to me, correct? But if Narendra Modi's mother wants to invite Modi, क्या PM office protocol भेजेगा? So that is the difference between prana pratishtha and prem pratishtha. Now, is Krishna there in my home? Based on your prema. The way you develop love for God, God is there actually, prem pratishtha, right? Forget about God coming in some Krishna form in through prem pratishtha. प्रहलाद इतना भगवान को प्रेम करते थे कि भगवान एक पिलर के बाहर निकल गए नरसिंहदेव को, करेक्ट? नाउ क्या पिलर भगवान है? नहीं है. पर भगवान बताते हैं सत्यम विधातुम निज भृत्य भासितम. सत्यम विधातुम निज भृत्य भासितम. निज भृत्य, भृत्य मतलब सेवक, अपनी सेवक की जो वचन है उसको सत्य करने के लिए, सत्यम विधातुम निज भृत्य भासितम. निज अपना जो सेवक है उसकी भाषा, उसकी वाणी को सत्य करने के लिए भगवान एक्चुअली पिलर में नहीं है, पर भगवान पिलर से निकल गए. तो फॉरगेट अबाउट क्या मेरे घर में जो मैं मूर्ति पूजा कर रहा हूं उसमें प्राण प्रतिष्ठा नहीं किया था, क्या उसमें भगवान है? आपकी प्रेम के अनुसार भगवान आ जाएंगे, राइट? सो तो क्या मंदिरों में फिर प्रेम प्रतिष्ठा कर लो, क्यों प्राण प्रतिष्ठा करते हैं, राइट? तो जहां जहां हम कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि प्राण प्रतिष्ठा करने के बाद हमको मिनिमम भगवान को 6 बार खिलाना चाहिए और बहुत सारे नियम कानून हैं, तो उसको पालन करना चाहिए. तो इसीलिए घर में हम प्रेम प्रतिष्ठा करवाते हैं, प्राण प्रतिष्ठा नहीं होता है. पर फिर भी अगर प्रेम है भगवान को तो भगवान उसमें भी आ जाते हैं. ओके, एनीवन एल्स? Okay, so we will end here and we'll discuss next class. We'll continue. Hare Krishna. Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai. Hare Krishna.